Hi, second part of Martin's little shave experiments. This is really day 2. Yesterday I did 3 razors, as you may or may not have seen. One of which has turned out extremely well. I've left that on a 10K synthetic edge, which I'm very happy with. It's dropped beautifully, hanging hair tested really well. However, today's is the other 2 razors from yesterday. I want to put different edges on. So what we're going to try today is, let me just wet my Coticule. I've got a very nice little, fairly modern Belgian Coticule. I've already put a slurry on it. There's the little slurry stone. This time, different from yesterday, I've taped the spine of this particular fine little razor. This is the CV Helgestrand Ecclestuna, the number 32, which was badly worn, which I hopefully have restored properly. That's basically, I do metal work. That's what I do. Anyway, I'm not a great expert on anything other than restoration of metal work. Anyway, here's the little Coticule. The reason I'm using the tape, I brought all 3 razors, including this one, up to 8K. I then did the last one, which was the rather beautiful one. In fact, I haven't got it with me. It's upstairs, ready to shave with. But it's one of these, which is a golden edge, a double duck. This is the one which had the hardest amount of wear on it. The other little double duck, which I've got upstairs ready to shave with, is the 5/8. And that one came out very well. So here we have the Ecclestuna number 32, CV Helgestrand. Here we have my small, fairly modern Coticule. The reason that I'm now attempting to put a Coticule edge on with tape is that it gives it a compound bevel. So yesterday's bevel was, well, apart from setting obviously the bevel, was to bring up a reasonably good 8K finish, which I think I did. Certainly the one I've got upstairs ready to shave with came up beautifully well. So this is my sort of standard go-to for bringing up a Coticule edge. I use a medium slurry, not a very, very heavy slurry. Our medium slurry on a Coticule should remove the 8K synthetic, which was the last finish. As you can see, it's beginning to thicken up a bit. Don't know if you can see. I don't know what I'm doing. It's beginning to thicken up a bit. I can definitely feel resistance there. Now, as this particular razor badly needed saving, I had to remove the shoulders, the guards off this one to get a reasonable attempt at getting an edge. Do you know what? I think that's probably going to do. Yeah, that's feeling pretty sticky actually. So before I go on and do any more, I'm now going to take this one, which is the double duck. I'm going to do exactly the same. This has got a very nice high polished 8K synthetic edge, and now we're going to try and put a natural edge, a Coticule edge. And when I look at it later, not now while I'm doing this, later I'm going to look at it under a loupe or under my microscope, and you should have that nice slightly sandblasted look to the edge, which is probably why the little garnets which are hiding inside the stone and do all the scratching and all the abrading, it's hopefully that they're working their magic. This isn't my favourite Coticule. My favourite Coticule is an older, slightly larger Coticule, but this one I'll do for today's tests. So it's Swedish steel against German steel, both of the same period. Let's see how they like Coticules. Now that I can feel is getting pretty stiff, so what I'll do now is I'll just give it a little bit more work. That's a much thinner slurry now. This is more or less the Delacote method. So you go from a very medium to heavy slurry. If you really want a heavy slurry on a Coticule, it will actually give you a bevel set. It's that good. It's the only stone I know of which you can go from bevel set to actual finisher and ready to shave on one stone, depending on the thickness of the slurry. So that I'm going to call a day for that one, which was the number 32. Let's just try the same. Little, very, very little slurry now. I can feel a very slight difference in the steel type. This double duck, it does feel slightly different from the Edelsteiner. It could be down to the flexibility of the blade. Obviously, the harder you push, and I'm not pushing hard, the harder you push, the more the blade flexes, which can give you a false reading, really. I hope I'm not coming across as some sort of world expert on steel, because I'm not. But I have spent the best part of 50 years working with steels of different types, more of the antique variety. Anyway, I'm going to call that done. You can see the slurry is just a slightly darker grey. It's not black, so it's not removing masses of steel. Here's the final test. Final test should always be virtually no slurry at all. And this is going to refine the edge. At least that's the theory. It's just beginning to give that feel which I'm looking for. The feel I'm rabbiting on about is where the blade actually starts to stick. Yeah, it's just about starting. A little bit more difficult with the tape on the edge, but this in theory has given it a compound bevel. So the bevel set, which was done yesterday to 8K, that should in theory now be slightly altered, so the actual final apex should now purely be a Coticule. It's not sticking that well, actually. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. Running water seems to be the name of the game. I'm trying to look at the phone while doing this. That's not a good idea. Anyway, that, according to the Delacote method, that should do it. I mean, it is sticky. It is definitely sticky, but it's not as sticky as I'd like. But it could be down to the steel. Anyway, let's now go on to the number 32. This, of course, is the CV Helderstrand. Let's see how that performs. And then I'm going to take these and strop them and shave with all three razors, if you're interested. And that should give us some sort of feedback. So I'll have a double duck 5/8. Yeah, that's feeling more sticky actually. So I'll have a double duck 5/8 on a 10K synthetic edge, and I'll have these two feathers. Now here's an experiment we might have a go at. So in theory now I've got two razors of the same period, both pretty deep hollow ground, one German, one Swedish, and I think what might be a good idea, just as an experiment, is to now go on to the Welsh slate. Before I do, I'll just show you this. How about that? That's a genuine strop from Edelsteiner. It's the Strigeln number 111 extra fine barber's striggle. So that is actually what was used, and it probably still can be used, to hone up your edge, to strop your edge. Anyway, enough of that. Let me show you this little Welsh slate. I've no idea of the quality of this Welsh slate. They're cheap as chips. This is the Dragon's Tongue Superb Welsh Natural Slate Whetstone by Inigo Jones and Company. Groslon Gwynedd. Anyway, whatever. So, what I'm going to try is to put a little bit of glycerine. So we'll put a bit of glycerine onto this stone, onto this Welsh slate. I'll work it in with my finger and see how that feels. Obviously very, very slippery. And theoretically, the Welsh slate isn't ideal as a final finisher, it's a pre-finisher. So by doing this will be an interesting experiment. Which one should we use? Do you know, I'm rather tempted to use this double duck. Let's put the double duck on the Welsh slate. Oh, it's very smooth. So I'm using the Welsh slate, the Dragon's Tongue, as the final finisher, so to speak, on top of the Coticule. Whereas the other one is going to sit there on the drilling board as a Coticule finish. So I can then, in a minute, give these a good stropping and shave with them. So I don't want to bore you too much longer, chaps. I do hate videos that go on and on forever. But I'm assuming that this glycerine and water is doing its job. I've got to say, holding the stone in your hand like this is actually very satisfying. And yeah, I'd say I've probably now got a reasonable finish. I'm not looking for swarf. I can't actually see any. I can feel this has now become an extremely nice feeling stone, this little Welsh slate. So it'd be very exciting to see how it compares. So in a minute I'm going to go and shave with a slightly smaller 5/8 double duck on a true 10K synthetic edge. I shall then try this fella, which is the double duck, slightly more worn double duck, by the way. This one which has been saved with what was just now, 5 minutes ago, a Coticule edge, and is now a Welsh Dragon's Tongue slate edge. So there you have it. That's the Welsh slate. There's the slurry stone. Where's my little Coticule gone? I haven't lost it, have I? Oh yeah, there it is. There's the little Coticule I was using. I'm going to go and play now. Anyway, chaps, I hope you find this vaguely amusing. I'm not claiming to be expert on soaps. I'm not claiming to be expert, certainly not expert on stones. But I do like to play around with metal. Let's see how this shaves in a minute. So, chaps, I'm going to go upstairs and start stropping. Hopefully you'll watch a little of this later. And thanks for watching. Bye for now.